Crazy that they just killed off Ambessa, right? For those of you that only watch Arcane, that might not be a big deal, but for people who play League of Legends and have been keeping up with the lore for years like me, this is kinda crazy, because Ambessa is a champion. She's part of the game. I mean, she's not a good part of the game.
I think he's one shot.
What?
But a part nonetheless. And as a champion, she should have some special privileges that not every character in the story has. And this... You are the wolf. Very much goes against those privileges. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time that a champion has actually died. You know, without it being a fake out. Or without them coming back as an angry ghost, or a horse, or a ghost with autism. Or without them having their spirit summoned into an armor, or get revived after, or get awakened after 100 years, or look like they're dead, but actually they just regenerate because Mordekaiser always comes back. Or come back as the ghastly demon hunter. Time. Stuff. Or just be so horny that you let her stab you in the heart, and then come back as an undead king. Man, Viego was a freak. Yeah, it's surprisingly hard for characters to just stay gone after they die in Runeterra. I mean, Tryndamere literally just gets to say no. Man is literally too angry to die. Which means that Ambessa might just be the first and only champion, we still don't know what happened to Jason Victor, to actually just die. But you know, I kinda like that. Now we can finally have endings for character stories, instead of them continually just being set up for new things and then getting pushed back to default settings, because everyone needs to be alive for them to be able to be in League of Legends. It makes perfect sense that Ambessa died in Arcane Season 2, and I for one am ecstatic to see how her actual death will impact— what the fuck is that? Yeah, so as much as I love Ambessa's ending being her own death at the hands of her daughter, after she joins forces with the very organization that she was trying to root out, I actually don't think that will be the end of her story. Because you see, we know from Ambessa's launch cinematic that she isn't just any Noxian general. No, she was actually handpicked by Kindred itself to become one of the Wolves' own chosen. Okay, I just threw a lot of new things at you, and if you aren't familiar with the world of Runeterra, then it's not really going to make a lot of sense. So let me back up a little bit, and I promise it will all make sense in a few minutes. But first, let me tell you a story. In the world of Runeterra, there was once a pale man with dark hair who was oh so lonely. For all things would have to meet this man, and because of that he was shunned. So one day he took an axe and split himself in two, right down the middle, so he would always have a friend. And with this, the Kindred was born. One feels but does not understand. One understands but does not feel. A lamb and a wolf that together make up the very concept of death in Runeterra. And may I just say that considering all the examples we went through earlier, they're kinda doing a terrible job. I mean, how do you let this many people escape death? I mean, hell, there's an entire island of dead people who are just walking around. Yone, a dead soul was able to just wander back into the world of the living like it's no big deal. I mean, seriously, what even is— wait! If you are at the end of your life, either in battle or in bed, and you accept it with grace, then you will be met with the Lamb's Arrow, a quick and painless end. But those who struggle against death and fight to live on will be chased down and devoured by the wolf. However, those who are able to fend off the wolf and escape his jaws can sometimes be chosen by death itself, and after a death in battle, will join him in an eternal hunt. We see in Ambessa cinematic that she's sent to Volrachun, the eternal hunting ground for those chosen by the wolf. And when she's there, she's tested by Wolf and his chosen companions. A test that she eventually succeeds, and she ends up being invited into the wolf's pantheon of champions. She is then shown a vision of herself as the leader of Noxus itself, a possible future for her, but thanks to Arcane Season 2, we now know that this vision did not end up being true, as she died in battle against Mel and the Black Rose. Wait! Okay, so we have a character who was chosen by death itself to become one of its own champions, and who received visions of herself sitting the throne of Noxus by said god of death, in a world where the dead are notorious for not staying in the ground. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to see a connection here. Yeah, that's right, I believe that Ambessa upon her death was welcomed among her fellow chosen of the wolf, and that she will absolutely play a part in the upcoming Noxus series. Oh, and before anyone comes at me and says that this cinematic is not canon to Arcane, remember that Arcane is the canon now. Everything that comes out post-Arcane is canon to Arcane. Also, the song Blood, Sweat and Tears that is playing in Ambessa cinematic is literally a part of the Arcane Season 2 soundtrack. So yes, it is definitely a part of the story. Going back to Noxus though, in Noxus there lies a horror that only the Black Rose knows about, and that I believe is going to be the main focus of the Noxus series. Underneath Noxus Prime, which is the capital of Noxus, lies the Immortal Bastion, the biggest structure in all of Runeterra, which was built built by the warlord Zan Uzal, who during his life conquered a large portion of Valoran so that he would be invited into the halls of death and rewarded for his countless killings by the gods of death themselves. But it turns out that Kindred really did not care for Zan Uzal, and so his afterlife was mostly filled with nothing. Infuriated with the disappointment of his afterlife, Zan Uzal started devouring the other souls around him to grow in power, and then tricked some power-hungry mages to anchor his soul to his armor, whereafter he slayed the mages with a quick strike from his mace Nightfall, and went out to finish the job he had started in life, now under his new undead name, Mordekaiser. For 300 years, Mordekaiser led a crusade against the world, and during this time, he managed to conquer most of Valoran. But before he could finish the job, his very own advisor, LeBlanc, and a random vampire guy who we really don't have time to go into right now, they stabbed him in the back, but Mordekaiser was too powerful for them to outright kill, and so they were forced to seal Mordekaiser underneath his own immortal bastion. And this is where he still remains to this day. After defeating Mordekaiser, LeBlanc and Vladimir, the vampire man, created an organization that could control the empire that Mordekaiser had left behind, Noxus, from the shadows, and search for a way to actually kill Mordekaiser once and for all. And even till today, this is still their mission. I believe that the Noxus series is going to be about the reawakening of Mordekaiser, and I believe that Kindred will not look idly by as Mordekaiser comes back from the dead again. I mean, sure, I guess everyone gets one freebie, but like two? No. Come on, you gotta do something about that. This time Kindred will act, and it will use its chosen to do so. With that, I believe that Ambessa will play a major part in the final fight against Mordekaiser. But I don't mean that she's gonna come back as a straight up character. Like, I don't think she'll be sitting around with Mel eating tea cakes or anything, but I can definitely see her being almost like a ghostly presence in Mel's life. A shadow in the corridor, a voice in the wind. And then when the battle against Mordekaiser finally commences, we can see Ambessa literally use her weapons to chain Mordekaiser back to the realm of the dead. This is my prediction for the future of the Noxus series. This is your cue to click the subscribe button, and this is my self-promo. Hi guys, I just wanted to let you know that I have set up a Patreon and YouTube memberships for the channel, and I would really appreciate it if you would consider pledging something. I normally wouldn't do this, but YouTube recently just took away my YouTube partnership status along with $300+ that I never got paid out, and so community funding is really the only way for me to make any money from this. And trust me, I will go all out with these things. I personally think that my Patreon and memberships are absolutely incredible, with a ton of fantastic rewards, such as exclusive content, access to the private Discord server, community game nights, and so much more. Oh, and if you become a member, you'll get these adorable little guys by your profile. Honestly, I'll pledge $1 or $2 just for that. That being said, this has been all from me. Tell me what you guys think in the comments, along with your own theories and ideas. And as always, stay jinxed.